Welcome to another video on a Rideshare dashboard here. So I'm sitting here with Dan over at Metromile, and he has a really exciting announcement that he wanted to share with everyone. So I'm just going to start off with a couple of questions with Dan and to have him introduce himself and a little bit more about Metromile. So I guess can you give us a little bit more background about what Metromile does and when did it start, and I guess what you do for drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. So Metromile has a simple premise. We're a new type of insurance company. So we actually only bill you for the number of miles that you actually drive. So this per mile insurance product means that for urban drivers especially, who are driving 5,000, 6,000 miles a year, you can save about 50% in your insurance. So there's a dramatic insurance product. And along with that, there's this service that comes off an application that can help you diagnose the issues in your car. You can talk with our in-house mechanic about the issues in your car and diagnose it. You can avoid parking tickets in certain cities where there's street sweeping, and avoid $60 tickets by getting alerted in time. And that's sort of all part of this product. And so it's been really exciting.
Oh, great. So I guess when did you start? I guess when did Metromile start? Was it like 2 years ago, last year?
So the company started in 2011. We launched our first state of Oregon in 2012. And then since then, we've launched in 3 other states. So we're in Oregon, Washington, Illinois, and California now.
Okay, and was California recent?
Yeah, we launched in July last year.
Oh, okay. And I guess what is the overall reception of having Metromile in California?
It's been great. I mean, basically, one of the things you're seeing especially is with new services like Uber, Lyft, etc., with new transportation projects and all this, people have more and more options to get around. And as that's happening, the reason for owning a car is changing. And instead of taking your car to and from work every day, it's there for like weekend trips. If you're going to, say, Tahoe, for instance, or you're going into the desert, whatever it may be in California, right? And what's cool with this product is that it can support having that car even if you're not using it every day. So even on the weekend, now you're paying a lot less for your insurance. You're making sure that your car is taken care of by your app taking care of that, making sure you know what's wrong with it. And now it's worthwhile to have that car. Because I think a lot of people these days, because of all these options of getting around, actually feel like they don't need a car or there's too much hassle associated with it. And so it's our job to make it possible again. Okay,
so I guess for most of your customers, can you share like approximately like how many miles they drive in a year? Because the industry standard is roughly about 10 or 12,000 miles a year. That's a normal. So what do you see in your customers? Do they tend to drive a lot less than that or a lot more than that?
Yeah, so the average number of miles is actually what you said. So it's between 10 and 12,000. So anybody driving below that would save with our product. And so our average customer drives about 5,000 miles per year, and they end up saving about 50%. And that's about $500 a year in savings.
Oh, great. Okay. So I guess you have an exciting announcement to discuss, I guess. So what are you, I guess, announcing today?
Yeah, so this is really exciting news for us. One of the things we've learned, over the last couple of years is that for ride-sharing drivers, there's a personal insurance challenge. That you may not know when you're covered, you may not know even if you're covered, and then sometimes if you're with some insurers, you may end up finding that you'll lose your personal auto policy because they found out you were driving for a ride-sharing company. And so what we're launching now is a partnership with Uber, and we've built with them basically a product where you're covered throughout your personal trips, your ride-sharing trips, and everything in between. And basically the way it works is for all of the miles driven personally, or in between trips, you're paying your per mile rate, and then you're covered by Uber for everything in between, for all of your trips from the point where you pick somebody up until you drop somebody off.
Okay, wow. So this sounds like drivers would be saving quite a bit of money, I guess, because they don't have to pay for all the miles that they're racking up on Uber, right?
That's right. And actually, I should clarify. It's from the point where you accept the trip to drop somebody off. So it's basically we're covering everything in between.
Oh, okay. So I guess if drivers are really smart about it, they could technically be not officially on the, have to pay for insurance for a lot of miles, because they can literally just end the trip, stay at the position until they get another request, right?
That's exactly right. And as you see more and more of these trips come up, you actually see that typically there's not much of a lag in between, dropping somebody off and picking up a new trip. And so you wouldn't pay for any miles in between. And so especially because we find that, a lot of rideshare drivers are in cities, this could be a great product. And not only are you covered to the whole thing, you may actually end up saving money in the insurance in the end.
Right, yeah, because I think when I figured out my, mileage, I still drove roughly about 10,000 miles outside of Uber, but then I added on another like 12,000, well, it's probably a little bit less than that, but about 10,000 miles on Uber, so that's another 10,000 miles that I'm putting on my insurance, or my car rather, so.
Right, and you wouldn't be close to those into this program.
Okay, so I guess you have a direct partnership with Uber. Is there, well, I guess a lot of rideshare drivers drive for Lyft and Sidecar, and I think Summon in San Francisco. Does Metromile cover those as well, or is it only just for Uber?
So right now it's only for Uber. This has been a pretty big project in getting all of our systems integrated and making this product together. So we've really been focused on building that with Uber.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is there any short-term plans or to work with Lyft or Sidecar to get those on board, or I guess it's still kind of in the works for now?
Yeah. So right now it's not something that we've really been working on. We've really been focused on getting this Uber partnership out, and it has been a lot of hard work making that happen. Okay,
great. So I guess. So for your existing customers, in the states that you mentioned, like Illinois, Oregon, California, I believe, and I think you said, I think on your website you said Washington was going to be being launched next month, right?
But we're in Washington right now. So there are 4 states we're available in: Washington, Illinois, California, and Oregon. And our insurance is available in all of those. And for this partnership with Uber, it's in 3 of those. It's in California, Washington, and Illinois.
Oh, I see. Okay. And for existing customers, do they need to do anything different in order to be for this Uber and integration to work?
So if you're driving with Uber currently and you are already a Metromile customer, you'd have to give our customer service line a call, just so that we know to make sure to flag the account that you're driving with Uber. Otherwise, if you're not already a Metromile customer, there's a specific webpage that you'll go to, and basically it'll be the same kind of form and everything, but there'll just be a checkbox that says you're driving with Uber, and that way we'll know to make sure to subtract the miles. Okay, great. And then you have it pretty clear on your website what the mileage rate is in terms of your how much you have to pay for your insurance. Does that go up at all because I'm driving for Uber, or? No, I think this is a really important distinction. Is in fact you're just paying the normal per mile rate that you would if you were just getting a normal Metromile policy. And then the idea is that you're just not paying for the miles that you're driving for the period where you're either going to pick somebody up or dropping somebody off. Okay, great. Yeah, that does sound like a great option. I think that does definitely remove a huge gray area that I guess we all see in rideshare is the insurance coverage. People are not necessarily hiding from their insurance, but they're just not telling them, hoping that they don't ask. But this definitely resolves a lot of the gray area, and I'm really hoping that, being that I believe you may be the first, at least in California, to do this, that at least statewide, that hopefully you guys get a big advantage. Hopefully you get a lot of people to sign up. Yeah, we're really excited about the partnership. It should be great to really solve this issue for folks, and it'll be great to be partnering with a company like Uber. And I guess do you know why you guys are the first insurance companies to do this? I mean, there's tons of insurance companies in California, but why have they been so hesitant to do something like this? I'd say my guess is there's a couple of reasons. One is it took a pretty significant technology integration, and you need to move pretty quickly, and that's our core competency. We're a technology company that does insurance, and so that's something that is sort of core to us. The second thing is one of the things that really helps in this is that because it's per mile and you are basically charging for the period that you're actually driving, there's a very distinct line in between when it's personal use and when it's driver use. And that made the partnership a lot more possible and a lot easier to set up. Okay. And
And do you see any kind of pushback by at least potential consumers about your type of insurance, like paying per mile versus just your standard, assume that we drive an X amount of miles? Like, do you see a lot of pushback in that?
I think typically if we can help people understand how many miles they drive every year, that's typically enough to get over that hurdle, because then you know how much you're going to end up saving. But yeah, I think it's important to ensure people know, have transparency into how much they would actually pay for their through the application you provide and all of that. I think once people see that they end up saving 30, 40, 50% in their insurance, it's a pretty easy sell after that.
Okay, great. Is there anything else you wanted to add about Metromile and this integration? Any other tips on maybe how to save a little bit more money with this Uber integration?
Yeah, some of my favorite stuff, at least. I used to get 3 of those street sweeping tickets every month. So if you live in the city, being able to move your car in time to not get that $64 ticket is definitely saving me a lot of money. And the other thing too is it turns out that getting your car repaired and maintained correctly is a really important part, especially when you're putting 20 miles in your car. And so one of the things that comes along with this service is the ability to make sure that you're getting the right repairs done and knowing what the cost of that will be. And so that's one way that this service really helps to ensure that your costs are taken care of. So.
Is there any mechanics that you guys are affiliated with so that drivers can get extra savings on just these routine fixes or fixes based on these ODB2 error codes?
Yeah, so there's not a specific shop that we're affiliated with right now. The one thing I will say is one of the most popular features we have in our app right now is when your check engine light does go on, you can forward that info to a mechanic actually who is working with us here at Metromile, who will take a look at the data and then basically have a conversation with you over email about what to do with the car, and they can give you a lot of really helpful advice about what to think about when you go to your mechanic.
Oh wow! So it's kind of a one-stop application. You have your mileage tracking, insurance, and then also a mechanic, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Dan, for sitting in with me and talking about Metromile. It sounds really exciting, and I'm really hoping that this will definitely, ignite the growth in your company.
We're really excited about it too. Thanks.
All right, thank you.